who told a Syrian court hanging on his words that the email messages were eventually extracted, printed, and documented. According to Usman Tom, most of the email messages found were negative discussions, such as the removal of the APRC government and president from power. The inbox also included account details, CCG logos, notification of donations, and the purchase of a transmitter by the group. On the 9th of June, Usman testified that he was assigned by the head of the panel to transcribe the audio press releases of the CCG from the hard drive of the first accused. Prosecution later succeeded in tendering the drive as exhibit without objection following its identification by the witness, who further testified that an audio interview with Ndei Tafa Sose in Wolof and Mandinka was also found in the hard drive. The trial continues. Ibrahim Jata, GRTS.
Still on that treason trial, 2 audio press releases purportedly by the group calling itself Coalition for Change were today played at the Special Criminal Court, which granted a prosecution application to play the audio recordings during the continuation of evidence by prosecution 7 witness Usman Tom. The audio messages, which included an auditory interview with the group's alleged Secretary General Ndei Tafa Sose, were contained in a hard drive belonging to the first accused, which prosecution had already tendered as exhibit. The recordings, which were keenly followed by the court, dominated Thursday's proceedings. The trial has been adjourned to the 14th of November 2011 for continuation. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Welcome back. Egypt, like other post-conflict nations, is also looking to move forward in the wake of this year's uprising. But the country is now facing economic challenges, including rising unemployment. This report shows us how one major Egyptian city is trying to prepare young people for the future.
Egypt's second largest and arguably one of its most beautiful cities, right on the Mediterranean Sea. But it also has a major problem.
According to UNICEF, Alexandria alone accounts for about 7% of the unemployed in all of Egypt. The problem, they say, is that the Egyptian education system teaches people to work in government jobs. But those government jobs no longer exist. And many of those who graduate from Egyptian schools don't have the skills to succeed in a competitive private job market.
The result is massive youth unemployment, not just here, but across the country. Some teenagers, however, are already preparing for the future. In the UNICEF project Building Young Futures, teens as young as 14 learn the art of discussion, debate, and communication, skills they hope will help them in job interviews in the workplace after they get out of school, like 15-year-old Amel Hamed. I improved my communication skills a lot, she says. That helped me make new friends, and it also helped me in school. I won Best Student Award in the Governorate of Luxor. Others have taken things a step further. 21-year-old Sarah and Heidi have started a business making and selling jewelry. Both of us always loved making jewelry, Sarah says, and this project helped us to plan and implement it the right way. Like marketing the bracelets and necklaces on Facebook, the best way to showcase the goods in a well-connected place like Alexandria. The project is funded by Barclays Bank, but run locally by Egypt's Youth Association for Population and Development that organizes seminars like this career counseling session.
We believe in young people. They are the main assets for Egypt. And what we need is to just work with them to discover themselves and to realize their potentials. And then they can do an amazing job.
After decades of dictatorship, Egypt is a society in transition. The success of that transformation will depend on teens like these to a large extent, and whether they have the tools they need to move their country forward. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Alexandria, Egypt.
India has seen prosperity for decades now. The heavily populated country now boasts of being the second fastest economy in the world. Notwithstanding the growth in the last 2 decades, Indians are battling stubbornly with high inflation that has escalated, with soaring food prices occupying the minds of policymakers. This, according to analysts, could threaten growth in India. We have details in this report.
India is celebrating the 20th anniversary of its rising prosperity. Economic reforms since 1991 have transformed the country and made it the world's second fastest growing economy. And its burgeoning middle class is seen as the force driving the nation ahead. As spending powers swell, this vast group is striving not only for a better lifestyle, but for a better future for its next generation. As civil engineer, Arvinder Pal Singh has prioritized in raising his family. Singh spends generously on his children.
I want to build up their co-curricular activities also simultaneously, so that overall performance development of the children should be there. Tomorrow when they grow, they can do anything.
Expensive schooling, private tutoring, and sports and dance activities. Nonetheless, pressures of high prices weigh heavily on the Singh family.
I should say 60% of the money goes into this children's education, their activities and household grocery and vegetable buying and all other things.
Indians are battling stubbornly high inflation that has escalated. The soaring food costs are a big worry for policymakers. Analysts warn rising prices could threaten the country's growth rhythm, as the hardest hit are the nation's large poor population.
Inflation is impacting all sections of society except the very, very rich, except for the very affluent, who boast of a lifestyle which is comparable to the rich anywhere in the world. It's certainly pinching the pockets of middle-class householders, but it's really hitting. It's like a kick. It's like two kicks on the bellies of the poor and the underprivileged.
At Singh's project sites, migrant workers carrying bricks and dug-up earth on their heads stand testimony to crushing food prices, which they say force them to make compromises on other important issues. Ram Kumari says she had no other choice but to pull her children out of class because she couldn't afford up to $90 of school charges. When we don't have money, how can we give it, she asks. Planners of India's trillion-plus-dollar economy agree that with liberalization, rich-poor divides also have widened. Inclusive growth has thus been a centerpiece of government policy, and millions like Kumari wait for riding their nation's boom. Pauline Chu, CNN, Hong Kong.
We now take a second break. We'll be right back.
GRTS Digital FM on 98.6 and 102.6, the best FM station in town, where you can capture hundreds and thousands of potential customers with a wider coverage around the country. Advertise today and get your targeted customers. For more information, call 9933263, 9957255, or 4497331 and 9906445. GRTS Digital FM.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. The incumbent president, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh of the APRC, A&M Usain Dabo of the UDP, and the independent candidate Hamad Nkeba today formalized their bids for the presidency. Commissioners selected to look into incidences of tax evasion and other corrupt practices have taken the oath of office. Young people in post-Mubarak Egypt are bearing the brunt of economic challenges confronting one of the Arab world's most populous countries. And India watchers are warning that rising inflation and soaring food prices could threaten growth in the nation of over 1 billion people. You can also follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. That's it for this edition of the news. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.
The Technology Show. Science and technology has impacted all spheres of human endeavor over the past several millennia. Today, with the giant leaps that have been made in areas such as communication, power, medicine, and food technology, the world has virtually shrunken to look more and more like a village community. There is increased competition for the world's resources.